Hello and welcome back to our tutorial channel, Mr. Coder. In our last video we have seen how to generate a database from .NET solution using add migration and update database command using entity framework core. And in this video we are going to feed some data into our database for employees table, and then after that we'll be creating employee controller, and within employee controller we are going to add API methods. Okay, so let's go and right click on our employees table and click on edit top 200 rows, and here we'll add some records inside our employee. And let's say I'll say and I'll say developer. Okay, and I'll say Deepak, I'll say engineer. Okay, and I'll say QA. Okay, so I have added few records into our database. Now what we are going to do is next we are going to create a controller inside our solution here. So as you can see, within controller we have weather forecast controller. I'm just going to delete this because we don't require it, so delete that. And weather forecast class, I'm deleting that as well. Okay, and inside our controller right click and click on add controller, and here we are going to select empty API template. So select API and API controller empty template, click on add, and here we are going to provide name as employee controller. Okay, so I'll say employee controller add. Okay, so let's just double click here and drop it down this. So now here we have our API controller, and within this API controller, which is nothing but our employee controller, in this we are going to add API methods. Okay, so the first thing what we are required to do here is just declare a private variable here to use our service, and which is read only, private read only I employee service. Press control dot, it will give you the using namespace, and then here give service. Okay, I'm just declaring it as service. Okay, and then what we can do is we can create a constructor. CTOR is a shortcut for that, and in here we'll just use this service, and we'll say service and underscore service is equal to service. Fine. So now we have our service. Now we are going to implement our API methods, and the first API method which I want to implement is get employee by ID. So I'll say public async and task, and we'll say string because we just want to grab the name, and here we'll say get employee by ID, and here we'll receive employee ID. Okay, here we'll receive employee ID from the request, and then what we are going to do with that request is we'll create a variable under which we are going to take result equal to await, and we'll use our service dot get employee by ID. Okay, and then within this we'll pass our employee ID. So what we are expecting is this will go and call our get employee ID service, and then it will give us back our employee name. This is the logic which we are looking at. So we are calling this method inside our controller. Okay, and once we get that, we are simply going to return result. Okay, that's it. So this is one API method which we have created, and here since we are expecting an ID of employee ID, and this is going to be a GET request, so we just declare it as HTTP GET, and we'll say name of, because we want to call our endpoint with this function name, so we'll say name of, and under name of we'll give the name of our method name. So this is the method name I want to call our endpoint with. Okay, I'll just copy everything and I'll paste here, and this time I'll say get employee details. Okay, because there are two get methods, so that's why we are doing this. Employee details, I'll copy this and I'll just paste it here. And so this is the get employee details we are using, and here what we are going to do is get employee details, and it is also expecting the same thing. And here we have to have our model, which is employee, because we are going to get the employee object from this response. So this result is going to be a service response for that, and yeah, that's it. I think if you just look at the services again, the API methods. So we have two API get methods. One is for getting the employee name, and another is getting the employee details. Okay, so these are the two methods which we have written, and if you can see, this is the constructor we have created, and this is a private variable using which we are declaring the employee service. Okay, so that is done. Let us run our application and see what is the response we are getting. So I'll just click on IIS Express, and we have some. Okay, just click on yes, because we have simply enabled HTTPS as well. So press yes and say, do you want to install certificate? Yes. Okay. Okay, as you can go to startup class here, so one thing which I want to show you, that we are using a Swagger by default in our .NET 5 version. So the Swagger is already added, so we can test our API using the Swagger. Okay, so that is a very good thing, and if we just see this is the output we have got. Okay, and we have two endpoints here, which is get employee by ID, get employee details. So I'll click on get employee by ID, and let's say I want to try it out. If I just try it out and click on 1 and provide ID as 1, so I'm expecting some output here. Execute, and we are getting the response as Ram. So the employee ID 1 belongs to Ram, that's why it is returning as Ram. Okay, and if you just go back to our database, here you can see that. Okay, if I give employee ID as 3, so it should return Lakshmi, right? So let me just do that. I'll say 3, execute, and yeah, as expected, we are getting the results. Okay, let us check the other endpoint as well. So just click on it and click on employee details. I'll just give here, click on try it out and give here employee ID as, let's see. So I'm expecting complete row for the employee ID 3. So it should be ID, name, and designation. So let's execute and see. Here we have got ID, name as Lakshmi, and designation as QA. And if I just go back to database, developer, Lakshmi, ID is 3, and the designation is QA. Okay, so our API endpoints are working fine. So we'll end up our this tutorial video here itself, and in our next video we'll be creating XUnit project, and using XUnit project we'll write some test cases. Until then, please take care of yourself. Goodbye.